So I usually start off every interview with a very simple question, but for some people, it might be difficult to answer. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Who is JaVarius Conway?
Oh man, who am I? I'm a country boy from Fountain Inn, South Carolina. Uh, Raised by my grandparents. Uh, High school athlete with track, football. Play basketball from time to time. I'm goofy. Oh gosh, I'm goofy, man. I talk a lot, and I don't. I don't believe in bad days. I'm a person that believes in bad moments. And if you sit in bad moments turns into bad days. And bad days can turn into bad weeks. And bad weeks can turn into bad months. And bad months can turn into a bad year. And so I just believe in I'm a very optimistic guy. Um uh I don't play games.
Mm-hmm.
But I do play games. I handle my business, but I don't like being serious all the time.
Got it.
Being serious is very draining. And I'm a big kid. I'm a big kid. I got a lot of nieces and nephews and godchildren. I got
Yeah.
my own daughter as well. Yeah, I think I answered that well.
Yeah, no, you did. You definitely did. So I really like the what you said is you don't believe in bad days, you believe in bad moments. Um,
Mhm.
that's a very good quote, I would say. A very good way of thinking of things and staying in the positive instead of the negative. Um,
Okay.
let's talk a little bit about your acting. How long have you been acting?
This year makes 10 years, actually. I started in 2013 when I was 21. Uh, so I guess that, guys, if you people can count, that lets you know how old I am currently. Yeah, I started at 21, 2013.
Uh-huh.
Uh, it actually started with a dream, actually. But if I was to go back. You really started doing church plays and the Easter plays and the Christmas plays and things of that nature.
Mhm.
Um, but I was a choir boy growing up, and I was on the praise and worship team at my home church. And my pastor at the time said, "This lady Erica Johnson is having auditions for her play." And my best friend, he wrote me. He texted me. I was texting while I was on the choir stand. He was like, "Go ahead, bro, go ahead." So I was like, "All right, cool." So I went out for the audition, and it just went from there. And I was named Erica Johnson gave me my first opportunity. And
Wow.
I think my character name was like Crazy Man Daryl or something like that. Crazy Man Dale. Yeah, Crazy Man Dale. And from December 2013 when I first hit that stage to now, yeah, it's 10 years.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. Now you said you had a dream. Do you mind sharing what that dream was?
All right. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, um, it felt so real, right? So it was me and Idris Elba, and
This is in the dream.
we we were detectives, and I had on a burgundy shirt, and it got ripped. We had got into some stuff. He came in there. I was a rookie cop, and he was I guess, my boss, the head detective and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I'm sick of this. Yeah, I just started carrying it off. He's like, calm down, Mike, calm down, calm down. I was like, no, F that, we got to do something. And then the sticker came cut, and I woke up, and then that Sunday, that's when my pastor was like, "Hey, we got this play coming up for this lady named Erica Johnson." And then it just,
It,
from that dream, that play to where I am today. That's where it really, really started.
That's where
Because
things.
it happened. Yeah, because it happened after I stopped playing football. So I went the JUCO route. Played college ball. I love football, but JUCO is a different grind that a lot of people don't know about. Some of the best athletes are in JUCO. One thing I learned about JUCO was the politics. And I'm sitting here playing with some guys. I'm like, how y'all not in the ACC, SEC, Pac-10? Well, it was Pac-10 during the time. Big 12. Like, how are y'all not, at that level?
Mhm.
And during my time playing JUCO, when I saw the business side, I saw what happened to them. When it happened to me, I was shocked. So I think it was like 6 of my teammates, they went on a college visit. And they were, the coach kept, because we played like right beside each other. I played tight end.
Mhm.
And so they looking at my old lineman that I'm beside and stuff like that. They was like, yo, who is this 81? And they was like, where's he at? We asked the coach to bring him as well. I didn't find none of this out until after the fact. I think like 3 or 4 of them signed to that school. It was a D2 school. And then once I heard that news, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I can't. The business side, political side of football, it sucked the love out because JUCO is a different. We got to go do it. We have to go through a different grind than the D1 athlete. You know what I'm saying? It's literally. I think it's a show on Netflix called The Last You. It's real.
Yeah.
You got dudes working 9 to 5 jobs, going to school, going to practice. You got to pay rent to stay on campus. Like it's real. So after JUCO, that's when stuff started happening with me transitioning into acting.
Wow. I find it interesting because it seems like every actor that I've interviewed thus far all have a similar story where they started off as athletes, college athletes, and for whatever rhyme or reason, they get out of it and get into acting. So I find that is a interesting pathway.
It's all entertainment.
Right.
It's all entertainment. When you're in the locker room, it's straight clown shows. Like I mean, some of the best entertainers. It's all entertainment. At the end of the day, when you're on the bus, we all cracking jokes, people making voices. We're imitating our teammates. We're imitating our coaches. So we're already
in that mode.
In that mode of acting and performing. Right. And then when you hit the field, plays, it's nothing but a script. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hit this bang 8, he got a curl, and then if all hell breaks loose, you got to improvise. The quarterback starts scrambling and stuff like that. So, and then of course, when we score or we get a sack, what we doing? We celebrating.
Yep. And that's a show too.
That's a show too. So athletes have already been molded in a sense to entertain.
Right. And be outgoing. Yeah.
Yeah, be outgoing, being in the spotlight, being showboaty and stuff like that. So now when we talk about making a transition, some of them just like, hey, I'm gonna go be an actor.
What was the first major thing that you did, or the first big break that you had?
61st Street with Courtney B. Vance. It was during the pandemic, actually. March. I got the audition March 2021, and I booked in May. Yeah, I booked in May. I did the audition in March. That's when they had just started doing virtual auditions.
Right.
So that's when the whole virtual audition thing started. And I was like, cool. I was taking my acting classes with my mentor at the time, John Minnick. He passed away last year. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to use this moment to apply what I'm learning in class. By this time, I'm probably like 2, 3 weeks in the class. Let's see if this shit works. So I do it, and I'm like, all right, I don't hear nothing back. Cool, it is what it is. Man, I end up getting that call like a month and a half later saying that I booked. I was like, what? Yeah. So it was a recurring role,
Wow.
and when I got there, man, I tried to beeline Courtney B. Vance because he was talking to somebody. I tried to beeline him, but he
Mhm.
stopped me. He was like, "Do I know you?" I'm like, "Nah, bro, I'm from South Carolina, dog. I know you don't know me. I know you don't." He was like, "No, you look familiar. You sure I don't know you?" I was like, "No." And I think in that moment, from a spiritual place, that's when I feel like that was God telling me, "Now you belong."
Yeah.
It was something, you know, and that gave me a new level of confidence for that season going forward. Was that moment in 61st Street. And he was so gracious. I was getting my makeup done. They was putting tattoos on me, and they
Mhm.
was putting his hairpiece on for the show. And he would go up. It was like a trailer inside of a trailer. So he went to this room inside the trailer to
Mhm.
go do his warm-ups and his prep and stuff like that. And when he walked by me, he just tapped on my shoulder. He said my name, Mr. Conway, Mr. Conway, Mr. Conway. And he made it his duty to learn everyone's name.
Wow.
And so 61st Street was my big break, but that was also I was fortunate and blessed to be in a position to watch a legend and a veteran like him and
Absolutely.
how he led the set as being number one on the call sheet, how he took control over the environment for the actors and everyone involved. So it was a lot that I learned in that 2 hour span, and
Mhm.
then of course filming on top of that.
What was your role in 61st Street? What was your character?
I was an inmate. I was a gang leader. So the boy Moses that got locked up in the show,
Mhm.
um, his dad was my OG. So I was like right under his dad. So if his dad got released, I'm next in line,
Right.
right? And so I found out he's there. People kind of looking at him sideways. And then my line was, hey, fool. Hey, y'all step aside for a little speed. You know what I'm saying? Give him his tray and you go ahead, you go get your food. And y'all sit back and y'all watch. Y'all better not do nothing. So that was my line in that episode. I can't remember the second episode. And I did something crazy in season 2.
Wow, man, that's awesome. And then
Mm.
64th Street is that still around, or did that get canceled?
It was on AMC.
Uh-huh.
AMC dropped it. CW picked it up.
I remember that.
So it was only 2 seasons. So we only did 2 seasons. It was only meant for 2 seasons. It wasn't meant to be a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
Got it.
season show. It was written for 2 seasons.
Got
So
it.
it's on CW. It'll be out March of next year, actually.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Yeah, I thought so. I didn't think it was quite finished yet. I wanted to say that I remember seeing some current entertainment news about 61st Street.
Mhm.
And then from there, you went on to act in Hush, or that's what's current.
Hush is what's current. After that, it was 61st. No, not 61st Street. It was Skin Queens with the
Okay.
late Jackie O, um, B. Simone,
Mhm.
Ernestine, and I want to Bree Renee.
Okay.
And I was fortunate to work with Jackie O. I was her fiance in Skin Queens. Uh, Great time. She was actually pregnant with her with the last baby during that time. So she was filming while she was pregnant. Beautiful soul, beautiful soul. Had a great time. Oh my gosh, we laughed the entire time. So yeah, and then Hush came after that.
Okay. Um, was the Scheme Queens, was that a recurring role as well, or just
No, it was a support. It was a support. It was a film.
Okay, I see. I got you.
Yeah.
And then now you're currently on Hush. Who do you play on Hush?
I play Alejandro. I am the guy that is sleeping with my brother's wife.
Scandalous, man.
Scandalous. Hey, you wanna know the crazy thing is that, in my DMs, it's a crazy world we live in. In my DMs, I get, "Are you like that in real life?" And I don't know, like, what angle are they, like, trying to figure out, right? So I've had DMs of, like, "Do you love your women like this in real life?" And I'm like, "Yo, this is my brother's wife." Like,
Right,
are you so focused on how I'm treating this woman and ignoring the morality of this situation? Or are you so focused on, oh my gosh, look at how he's holding her, how he's loving her. This is my brother's wife, people.
right.
Like, we got to keep this thing in context. This is not my main woman. I am the side dude in this situation. Um, yeah, Alejandro, man, I feel like Alejandro's a mystery.
Okay.
You don't know much about him. Um, you just see how he loves his brother's wife.
Mhm.
Um, and you don't know if he's dangerous. You don't know if he's passive.
Right.
You don't really know. And I think that's what I like about him the most is
Mm.
that out of all the characters in the show, he's the one where like you still got to scratch your head.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know if he's a killer.
Yeah.
We don't know if he got a criminal background. You know what I'm saying? Like
You
we
haven't
don't know
figured them
why
out
he
yet.
would. Yeah, we don't. You can't figure him out
Right.
yet. You know what I'm saying? And I love the pacing of 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 his development
Mhm.
in this process. I love how he's not being rushed. He's not being like, boom, this is who he is. It's like, nah, something going on with this dude,
Right.
and it's slowly unraveling, and that's what I love about it.
Okay. Were you were in season one and now season two
Mhm.
has just started. How's everybody receiving it so far?
Uh, Babyface got that song. I was born in '92, so I know a little something, something. Uh, Babyface got that song called "Whip Appeal,"
Yes.
and all I'm gonna say is that Alejandro lives rent free in Gina's head.
Can't get her off, she can't get him off her mind.
He's in there rent free. He paid, matter of fact, he paid his rent up. He's caught up. You know what I'm saying? Overpaid. Uh, I think that's what I'm gonna say. He leaves because we all know. I mean, he leaves in episode 7 in season 1. We all know he leaves, and so people wondering where he's at.
Right.
If you don't know where he is physically, he's in her head. That's where where he is. So Alejandro is definitely present.
And from what I hear, it's gonna be pretty interesting season. It's gonna be
It's going to
pretty
be interesting. Yes,
pretty steamy, pretty heavy.
yes, there's a lot going on. I mean, episode 1 started off like, whoo, how we
Right.
gonna follow this?
Right.
Yeah.
So you are, on top of being an actor, you are also an acting coach.
hmm
Can you talk a little bit about what you do as an acting coach?
Yeah, so I started a performing arts school with my mentor, Javon Johnson, who was in the Oval, and my brother, Smith Ali, who is a photographer and a videographer, writer, and director.
Mhm.
We started a school called Bear Fruit Conservatory, a performing arts school in South Carolina.
Mhm.
Our teaching style, we don't teach a method. So we don't do Stanislavski, we don't do Stella Adler, things of that nature. If I could call it a technique, I would call it gumbo.
Okay.
It's we dumping all
As
of the techniques, all of it in one, and we're stirring it up. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, there's one technique. One technique isn't like the only way.
right.
You take a piece of everything, you know what I'm saying? You could take a piece of Meisner, take a piece of Stanislavski, take a piece of Stella Adler, Uta Hagen, all the greats. At the end of the day, we're utilizing all of it. So that's really, and then also with me training under Javon for 8 years and training under John Minnick for 3. John was real heavy on script analysis,
Mm-hmm.
real heavy on script analysis and character development. A lot of people don't know that script analysis and character development are 2 different things.
Right.
When some people say, "Oh, I'm taking a script analysis class," no, you're not. You're really taking a character development class. You know what I'm saying? The script is the world. Character development is the character. And you have to deal with these things separately. And so that's what we teach. We deal heavily with the emotions first, developing emotional intelligence, relationships, developing a relationship with your emotions, not just in the work, but in your personal life as well. That's what we deal with the most.
Mm-hmm.
And we like it's old school training. We real big on plays. We're real big on plays, and I'm a stern teacher. Before my students pick up a script, we got to read 4 to 5 plays.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Any plays in particular that you start them off with?
I start them off with Gem of the Ocean, August Wilson. We were at Gem of the Ocean, Ma Rainey.
Yep. Ma Rainey's Black.
Did we do No, I don't think we did Fences. I'm trying to remember. It was two other August Wilson plays we did. I
Okay.
want to say radio something. I can't remember. Jesus Christ, I'm having a brain fart.
That's good.
But I have
It's all good. Is there a reason why you choose the plays that you choose?
um one. I love August.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love August Wilson's writing, his writing style. His poetic storytelling, but also how clear his characters are.
Right.
You know, the characters are so clear. I'm like, if you got to question who this man or woman is, you in the wrong field.
Right. Right.
I mean, what's my man with Piano Lesson? I had to read Piano
Oh,
Lesson.
yeah, piano
You
lesson.
know, Boy Willie is who he is.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's there. It's in the dialogue. I mean, Ma Rainey. I mean, it's so clear when you read it. It's like, oh my gosh, this is who this man is. This is who this woman is.
Mm-hmm.
And um, everyone is everyone is he has a way of writing characters that love their imperfections.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like they know they flawed,
Right.
but it's like I'm flawed, but this is who I am.
Right. They're strong within themselves.
Yes,
They lean on their character flaw, um,
yes,
because they know that's who they are, basically.
yes, and it's just beautiful. But I actors actors are not in love with writing. They don't love writing. They don't love good dialogue. Well, today's actors, this generation of actors.
Mm.
Um, I believe our generation of actors are lazy. We want to go straight into scene study. We want to go straight to auditioning. And
Right.
it's like, no, we got to fall in love with I'm a firm believer that the blueprint is still the blueprint.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know we in this social media era. You know what I'm saying? We in this social media generation where people are doing skits and people are getting paid. And people are getting opportunities in movies
Mm-hmm.
for these skits and stuff. But it's like you gotta look at what opportunities are being presented, and are they even being respected by the actors who really have to cut their teeth. And so reading plays will never go out of style. It should never go out of style. I believe any and every acting coach, if you're talking about developing a student from the ground up, you gotta start with plays. We gotta start from the origin. We gotta start from the beginning of everything, because the thing with plays is that that's where the depth comes from. The
Right.
story depth, the character depth, the emotions, the dialogue. Um, because in screenplays, you don't get that kind of writing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you condition yourself to read plays, when you bring that into the film world, that's
Right.
where we can get the subtext.
And
You see what I'm saying?
you can use it as a strength, as your strength.
It is a whole strength.
Yeah.
To be able to carry the weight of a character in a play and bring that into film with the silent moments, with just the essence of being on camera, and trusting that comes from reading great plays and working on that material. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Because you ain't gonna get no 2-3 page monologues in a film, but you got to be able to carry the weight of that. You got to be able to carry the weight of that character in film through the silence. You know what I'm saying? Through your presence. How are you walking? You know what I'm saying? Well, how are your eyes? How are you connected? How are you connected to this world? And plays give you that.
Man.
So that's what we teach. That's the core of our teaching.
Now, to my understanding, you yourself teach kids, or is it
Yes.
and adults?
I teach kids and adults. I stopped teaching adults. Teaching adults is different. Teaching kids, I prefer kids.
Easier to shape and mold.
Not even that. What that's definitely a big piece. I realized teaching kids and adults at the same time that kids and adults are no different.
Mm.
And when I hear my 9 year old, when I hear my 20+ year olds sound like my 9 year olds, I'm like, oh, it's a problem. You see what I'm saying? It's an issue. Now, granted, with adults, a lot of life has happened in that 20+ year time span and things of that nature. And adults, this generation of adults, they want it fast. They want it tomorrow. How can I get auditions tomorrow? I'm like, dude, you don't even know how to break down the script. You can't even identify a moment. You don't even know what world you in. You don't even know your character. You don't even know why you want to do this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You want to do this to fill a void because you wasn't hugged enough as a child. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? And you think this industry gonna hug you. Okay. Woo! You gonna find out real quick. So my core teaching with my kids and with my adults is we don't fall in love with the applause.
Mm.
Because if you fall in love with the applause, it's gonna break you too. Because them applause, if you just constantly seeking the applause, you're gonna lose accountability. You're gonna lose self-awareness. You're gonna lose all of these things that keep your morals intact
Mm.
because you chasing the applause, you chasing the affirmations and the validations. But with kids, kids keep me young because kids are so spontaneous, and kids are unapologetic about what they say, about what they think. They don't know, kids don't know what's right or wrong
Right.
to an extent, right?
Mm.
And when I hear them say some crazy things to their parents, and their parents be like, "Oh my God," and I'm sitting back, I'm like, I don't think they know that what they're saying is wrong. But
Mhm.
if you take that into an actual script and you look at your character from that way, your character not whatever your character is saying, they don't think that what they're saying is wrong because every character you play is toxic. every character you play is damaged. That's why it's so important for actors to not try to make your character perfect, because they're not. And
Right.
so with me teaching kids, and I look at how impulsive they are when with the things that they say, and then even with me being a father to a 6-year-old, like just the things that she would just say, whoa, just
Mhm.
impulsive. And I'm looking at my script, I'm like, oh my gosh, my characters, the characters that I play operate from this childlike spirit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so just teaching kids, and kids got a different type of fire. They got a different type of passion because the world hasn't touched them and damaged them yet. Adults come in damaged. You know what I'm saying? So I started teaching at 25, 26. And so dealing with going through that journey, I definitely matured a lot. I developed a lot of empathy, but I had to stop teaching adults because I wasn't in the space to constantly keep dealing with that in my career at the same time. But I still do like one-on-ones,
Mhm.
things of that nature on the side. But my main focus is with the kids, and getting them started early.
What is next for you in your career acting wise? Do you have any roles that are coming up? Are you currently auditioning?
I'm definitely auditioning still. I'm not at that. I ain't at that level yet. I do have a film coming out in February, called Once in a Valentine, written by Mary Ramirez and Javon Johnson, directed by Javon Johnson, and produced by Jesse Jalee and Javon Johnson. Also, starring Lauren. I forgot Lauren's last name. Lauren, don't kill me if this comes out. Starring Lauren, Clifton Powell, Miss Bernadette, Siobhan. Oh man, my boy Javier.
Mhm.
Great cast. It's gonna be a great, great, great love Valentine story that's coming out in February. And then I had to push a lot of things back because of the strike.
Right.
And uh, yeah, so right now now we're just seeing what's going to happen now that the strike is over.
Mhm.
Now we got to see the business side is the opportunity still on the table? That's first and foremost, because you don't know if they wanted me because they couldn't get a different actor because of the strike.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So now that the strike is lifted, it's a lot of changes that's going to be made. So, but at the end of the day, I'm back to the grind. I'm back to, cutting my teeth back in the classroom. I'm still training as well. If Al Pacino could go to acting class for 40 years, who am I tonight still be going?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Leonardo still training with, Larry Moss and getting prepared for projects and things of that nature. Who am I to be like, I've arrived to where um I'm not going to get training. So yeah, so I'm back in the jungle now.
What brings out the character in you when you get into character mode? What do you do to pull that out of you, to get that certain piece of that character to come to the screen?
For me, I think it's just how I live my life.
Okay.
I connect to all my characters because they're all a piece of me and I'm a piece of them. So I live my life in an unapologetic way,
Mhm.
and it's a blessing and a curse. Um, because just I'm quick to hug you and tell you I love you, but I'm also quick to punch you. You know, but in that, I love both. I love both of those qualities about myself. Um, and so I had to learn through my journey to love my brother Brian Dutson got a line: "Love what you is, love what you ain't." And
Mm.
so through my journey, I had to love the things that I hate about myself the most. And so in order for me to do that, for me, I was like, well, I know I'm a very brutal, direct person sometimes, and my mouth is a little slick.
Mhm.
Um, I have to deal with the pros and cons of it and be okay with it.
Right.
And so that's a part of what I bring into my work because I don't want to look at a character and question um I don't want to look at a character and have to second guess do I if I walk in this way. You know, I believe that in every character there is something about this character that I can relate to.
Mhm.
Good or bad. I mean, good or bad. I can look at this character and say, you know, I ain't never killed nobody, I ain't never raped nobody, but I know what it's like to have the thought of wanting to do harm to somebody, to do violent, to be violent to someone. I know what that thought process is like. And I'm not ashamed of it because I'm human.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But just like I know what it's like to be deeply in love and do whatever it takes to get the woman that you want to be with.
Mhm.
I know what that is like. You know, so I like to connect to the hard areas about myself. You know what I'm saying? The difficult things to talk about. Um I firmly believe that your insecurities your insecurities is the key to your destiny. So whatever it is that you're insecure about, if you don't deal with that insecurity, you are becoming a gatekeeper to yourself.
Mm.
And if you just look at it in life, everyone who had to face their insecurities and their fears, they went to another level of success. Um, and so once I dealt with my insecurities, I dealt with my fears. And it's not that I still don't have them, I still have them. But the
Right.
thing is, I don't try to fix my insecurities. I don't try to fix my fears because I'm not trying to be perfect anymore. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
want to be a human being that embraces all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm insecure about this, but let's go. You
Yeah.
know, and even if they may pick on me, they may crack jokes, they may gossip, spread rumors. I gotta be secure in my insecurities because it's not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna change.
Mhm.
That thought is still gonna be there. That fear is still gonna be there. And it's up to me to conquer it. I can't put my fear and insecurities in other people's hands. And so since I started taking that into my own hands, uh it gives me kind of like a cheat code with my characters because now I can find theirs.
When it comes to either approaching a role, say you already have the role, um, and then also on the flip side, say you're auditioning for the role, do you still get scared? Is that one of your insecurities?
Yeah, but that athlete mentality never leaves. It's getting ready for a football game. It's getting ready for a track meet. It's getting ready for a basketball game. It's like going to the gym, getting ready to hit the weights.
You put yourself into a certain mindset.
Yeah. Because I think what I learned in the pandemic, yeah, when the pandemic hit like 2020.
Mhm.
I can't remember who said it, but I think it was a casting director, and they said when we pick your headshots, when we pick you for an audition, that's us already telling you that we like you.
Right.
So the whole notion, every actor goes in, oh, I hope they like me. 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 And I was in that phase too, like, oh my God, I hope they like me. I hope they like me. But when I heard the casting director say, when you get that email from your agent, I'm already telling you that I like you.
Right.
So I had to use it from a dating perspective. Like, shoot, if a girl say, "Hey, I like you," you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I think you attractive. You know, I want to get to know you. Oh, I
Mhm.
got the hard part was that's the hard part. You know what I'm saying? So now that I got your attention, I think now that I got your attention, the second part is keeping your attention. And it's like, oh man, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to relearn that. And I also had to learn that rejection is not real.
Right.
And I learned that in therapy, actually. That rejection is not real, especially in this industry, because if you're still giving me auditions, did you really reject me? Now
Right.
I feel like rejection is like someone saying you suck, you trash, you garbage,
Mhm.
you don't belong. Like if you start getting stuff like that, okay, that's some rejection, some neglect going on. But if I send in a tape and I don't book it, that doesn't mean I got rejected. They don't like me. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't diminish my value because there's so many other things that go into you not booking. You
Mhm.
got you got producers that are friends with actors that's gonna look out for their people. But
Absolutely.
it's a part of the business um to do auditions. They still gotta do auditions anyway. So
Right.
you could be auditioning for something that's already casted
Mhm.
because people know people that's already there and they, hey man, this is my partner, you know. Da, 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 da. So once I started learning that side of the business, I was like, oh, well, I never try to book the role anymore.
Right.
That I never try to book the role. Um, my thing now is I'm here to book the relationship
Oh man.
because it's like dating, it's like friendship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I have to equate doing a bad audition to being a bad friend, an
Mhm.
inconsistent friend, an untrustworthy friend. You know what I'm saying? So if I send in a bad tape, I'm letting you know that I ain't a good person for you.
Mhm.
You can't trust me, you know. So that's how I look at auditions because I want to be a good friend, I want to be a good mate, things of that nature. So let me show you that you can trust me. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So it's not about this role, it's about me and you. It's about me developing this relationship with this casting director, developing a relationship with a director, a producer, a writer, because they always working.
Right.
So why am I putting all my eggs in this basket of this particular role? You know what I'm saying? No different than dating. Like, why am I putting all my eggs in this one basket of this first date
Mhm.
when we got a lifetime? You know what I'm saying? If everything goes well,
Right.
like let me get to know you versus same thing with friendships. You know what I'm saying? And so once I started to learn that, when I get an audition from a new casting director, it's like, oh, it's a chance for me to build a new relationship.
Mhm.
So that's what helps me calm my nerves. Yeah.
I like the fact that you correlated it with going on a date. I've never heard anybody put the two together, but it makes a lot of sense. And usually when you get, when you ask somebody to go out on a date and they say yes, that is your win right there. And
We
at that
we
point,
won. It's
yeah,
on you to mess it up at that point.
exactly. So I do like that. As far as representation, do you currently have management? Do you are you represented by an agency or
My manager is the great Kimberly Jargo. I love Miss Kim so much. I met her at a golf tournament. I want
really?
to say in August, September, one of the months.
Uh-huh.
I met her and I was just sitting down and both it happened. And then my agent, I'm with Screen Artist Talent. I went back to my old agent with my mentor, John Minnick, at the time. He was running the agency then. He passed away last year. So I was
Mhm.
like, let me go back. Because I had to learn that you want to be rep by people who know you.
Right.
You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? You want to be rep by people who know you. And with Screen Artists, it was I cut my teeth a lot in that place. And from Screen Artists and with my mentor Javon Johnson also, I cut my teeth between the two trainings.
Mhm.
But I went back to Screen Artists because I was at a place of like I'm tired of being rep by people who don't know me. they have an idea of what they want from me. I was like, now I need to go to people who know me.
Right.
And then even when I met with Miss Kim and we had our meeting, she took the time to get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And started developing certain things, what she wanted to do for me based off of what I was telling her about myself.
Right.
You know, and I think another thing that actors should be mindful of when you're looking at agents or management, you got to look at their network and their relationships because they're the middleman. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? They are the middleman. So if they don't have the strong relationships and networks with producers, directors, casting directors, if they don't have that kind of relationship,
Mm-hmm.
they no good for you. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like they just and then also it also depends on where you at in your career also. Like if you're just getting started. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to be mindful of what are they doing? Like really scope their roster. Really look and see if 90% of their roster is co-stars. That
Okay.
kind of lets you know what you're dealing with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because actors, they're gonna go to the website and be like, "Ooh, they got actors on this show, this show." And I'm like, "Yeah, but they can have actors on there who got one line.
Right.
They could be a bunch of day players on that roster." And now you all excited and you submitting, and now you become a part of that day player. But then you overlooking this management or agency over here that got multiple series regulars, guest stars, recurrings, strong support leads and leads in major films. You're overlooking them because they're not showcasing themselves like the co-star agencies
Right.
that's trying to work their way up to get to having multiple series regulars and guest stars and things of that nature. So you got to do deep research, and that's what I did. Like once I really understood that you are who you are represented by.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to really change that. So yeah, I love who I'm represented by now.
Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the mistakes or some of the things that you realized later on that you were doing wrong? Can you is there a particular time in your career where you might have made a bad choice or something of that effect? And
Mm.
you know, now that you know that it was a bad choice, is it something that we can avoid?
Whew, okay. All right. I did some crap, man. I was a wild boy, man. I was wild. I was temperamental. I was impatient. Um, yeah. Yeah. I was wild, man. Um, but I think the biggest thing it was two things that if I could go back, I would do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I express this to my students all the time. First, male or female, especially with me having mentees that are 21, 22, 23, 24 years old and starting out at 21.
Right.
Um, I spent the bulk of my time chasing after an individual, chasing after a woman. You know what I'm saying? Playing the in and out game.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a huge distraction. You see what I'm saying? It took me off my grind. It took me off. It altered my focus, um, because I put all my faith in that relationship,
Right.
and I felt like I needed that relationship for me to make it. And so I tell my students to don't. But and also being in the South, marriage is like here.
Right.
You got to get married before you're 25. You got to have a family before. Like it's a real thing in the South, and
Wow.
people think it's a joke, but it's a real thing in the South. Like you need to be married before you're 25. You need to have X amount of kids before you're 30.
Wow.
You need to have that. So in my 20s, I was starting my acting journey and trying to fulfill the Southern culture. And I had to separate myself. Bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
I had to separate myself from my culture. Uh, and it's biblical because even God told Abraham, hey, you got to leave this country. You know what I'm saying? You got to leave your father's home. And I'm going to take you to this promised land. I got a land that I have for you.
Right.
And leave your family. But, just like myself and a lot of people, Abraham didn't listen. He took Sarah, he took Lot, and he was supposed to go on this journey by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I would have done differently is I would have I would have went on that journey by myself, because in the midst of Abraham taking Sarah and taking Lot on that journey, in the midst of Abraham taking Sarah and Lot on a journey that was meant for him to go by himself, he put Sarah in some bad situations.
Right.
Some real bad situations. Like he had to lie because dudes was trying to sleep with her, and he's like, hey, act like you my sister.
Mm-hmm.
Put her in some bad situations to where she had to do some things that she wasn't comfortable with.
Right.
Lot ended up in Sodom and Gomorrah. You know what I'm saying? That we all know what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah, how it got destroyed. So because of Abraham's disobedience, it put other people in harm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't hear God's call. They were just following Abraham. And that's a dangerous thing. And so for me, one of the things that I would have done differently during that time was that I would have went through that journey by myself. But because of me not wanting to be alone and scared and being afraid, I was just tagging people along. But particularly with that relationship, I was trying to tag that individual along. And it did great damage. You know what I'm saying? The other part, so that's from a personal life standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The other part was I was in such a hurry. I had no patience. You know what I'm saying? I got an agent too fast. I was out here trying to audition when I didn't even know what script analysis was. I didn't know what character development was.
Right.
I let me doing local plays, especially local church plays, I let it get to my head.
Mm-hmm.
And then you when you do these church plays and stuff like that, oh my God, you done ex Denzel, you done ex, and you start letting all that stuff get to you.
Yeah.
And then once you go into an acting class and you're dealing with someone like a Javon Johnson, like I don't care about none of that. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Sit your butt down. And I was like, no, I'm not sitting down. This is what we gonna do. And he let me go on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so impatient. Man, when I tell you, man, I had like about 5, 6 agents within like my first 4 years.
Wow.
I was so impatient. And I was sending in bad tapes. You know what
Because
I'm saying?
just because you wanted it.
Just because I had undisciplined hunger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I had an undisciplined passion. It was just I gotta get it. And then that's when that era was starting to come up, like, we gotta go out there and get it by any means. You gotta go out there and grind. Don't take no for an answer to this. So I was in that mode. Now that I'm 31 and now that my career has taken off, I'm tired,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The reason why I'm tired is because I spent my 20s chasing,
Mm.
chasing after something that was already ordained for me.
Right.
And I realized I was like, man, okay, now I can't really enjoy the fruits of my labor because I'm tired. Because now that I'm 10 years in, I spent 8 years running. I spent 8 years chasing. And so now it's like, wow, I see the big role come in. I was like, "Who I gotta try to get some rest." When I was supposed to be using the first 8 years to
Right.
train, develop,
Mm-hmm.
and then spend this last 2 running because I'm equipped to run. I was running unequipped. Now, along the way, it was like, all right, I'm running, and now I'm getting all this equipment at the same time.
Mm.
And now I got to fight for rest. When I had a season, I had 8 years to rest.
Right.
And so those 2 things are the biggest things that that if I could go back and do over, it would be that, because you can't get time back, you can't get that rest back. I wonder if it's anything else. No, those were the two big ones, because one thing I learned about teaching, everybody's dealing with that too. Those two. It doesn't matter. I don't care what region you in. Somebody's in a hurry to get it. You know, everybody want to get famous quick. Well, somebody chasing after a boy or girl, because everybody want to be loved, everybody want to be married, everybody want that family. And it's like, when you come into this industry, it's hard to do both at the same time.
Right.
It's hard to do both. And then you entering into a world that your culture don't even understand. So now you're trying to date somebody that's like, I don't know that culture. And then you trying to explain to them something that you're trying to figure out yourself. You see how crazy that is?
Yeah.
And so that's why I tell people, like, I mean, if people are already dating, I give warnings. That's how I speak positivity. You know, I'm gonna give you warnings. Hey, when you come into this class, this type of training, your relationship may not last.
Mm.
Your marriage may not last, because you're about to go through a journey of, if you saying that you was called and created to do this, you're gonna learn who you are. And along this journey, you may find out that you dated this person or married that person because you didn't know who you was, and you decided to make a decision based on the culture, based off you decided to make a decision based off of the culture that you was in, based off of, instead of basing it off of who you are as a person.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I let it be known to spouses too. You know, so I don't talk to boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives. Like, listen, this
Gotta
is
let me know.
this is yeah, like, because I need you to know too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to be prepared. Like, y'all lives are about to change. You're
Mm.
gonna have to get used to seeing your significant other be intimate with someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on, what's going on.
Right.
You're gonna have to be used to late nights. You're gonna have to be used to studying and the grind and them being on the road. We in the South, people working 9 to 5s and come home. It's different. And then on Sundays, we all going to church.
Right.
That's the Southern culture. We work out 9 to 5. We go to church on Sundays. We go meet up with the family on the weekend, or go to a local bar or something like that, and we just have a good time. Now it's, all right, babe, I ain't gonna be home for two weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And people not used to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you were in a room with beautiful women and handsome men. You know what I'm saying? And then what do you do when your celebrity crush wants you?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like these are the things that people don't be thinking about.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, what do you do when your celebrity crush becomes your peer?
So what, let me ask you that question. What do you do? And how do you handle that as the actor on the other side of things? Can you speak to it from the side of, having a spouse, and how do you walk that line? And then also, the level of temptation that's out there.
Well, I've never been married, but I've dealt with a lot of married students. And what I tell them, what I tell them is, I mean, you got to be honest with yourself. That's first things first. That's first things first. But in the midst of that, that's why, like, we take, in our training, we take 2-3 years before we even throw people out there,
Wow.
because we want you to condition yourself to look at them as your peer,
Right.
not as, oh my God, it's Michael B. Jordan. Oh my God, it's Megan Good. Oh
Yeah.
my God. No, these are your coworkers.
Right.
So treat this like how you walk into your 9 to 5 job.
Mm-hmm.
You see your supervisor, or you see the person that you work the line with, treat them like that. You see what I'm saying? Don't go in there like no god doggone groupie.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So we start that. That's a part of the training process.
Wow.
You see
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you got to go in there treating them like peers. Because if you don't, I don't know these people's fetishes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know your fetishes like that, because I don't need to know that side of you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you have to contain these type of fantasies, and realize this is not a fantasy anymore. This is a reality. You are in the room with these kind of people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you are in that room. You are in that space with them. You see what I'm saying? For me, this is just me. And the pandemic was great for me. It was hard, but it was great. I had to look at when I started seeing actresses my age,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even know they were my age. I just had to Google them. I was like, oh my God, she is so beautiful. Who is she? Oh, she my age. Okay. I calmed down a little bit. But when Hush hit, right, it started to become a little bit more of a reality of like, I'm this close to being in the room with you.
Yeah.
Like I'm this close, right? And so certain things kind of change with like as you continue to grow, because you know what your team is doing for you, you know what's on the table, and you like, dang, I'm really this close to being in a room with with these type of people.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's, oh shoot. And then you all know, you hit that right role and that exposure hit, it's like it's free ball game at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't look at you as a celebrity crush. You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta look at you as a potential business partner, you know what I'm saying? Because a co-worker.
Right.
And then if things hit, it's like, dang, I could possibly end up with this person. If if we meet up and if the attraction is mutual, like these things start to become a
Real.
reality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that a lot of people don't prepare themselves for. It's like, nah, like you could be a nobody today and be a somebody tomorrow and be with the person and be with someone that you've been admiring for a long time. You can end up being with them for real.
Wow.
Like it's a real thing. It's happening all the time. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure, Jonathan Majors didn't grow up thinking
That this was gonna happen.
that shoot, I ain't gonna never be with Megan Good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now, boom, he
Yeah.
with Megan Good. Like, yo, this is crazy. I am with Megan Good.
Yeah.
You don't know until it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be with anybody. Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when he was playing at NC State, he wasn't thinking that, man, one day I'm gonna be with Sierra. Like, bro, you ain't even like this is still Sierra. This is my goodies.
Right.
And then, man, boom, 3 kids later. So it becomes real the higher you climb the ladder and you start being in these rooms with people.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. The last thing that I normally do is allow my guests to give a final word, whether that's a quote, words of encouragement, or some advice to their peers, people who are aspiring actors or already in the industry and just maybe need something to, words to live by.
Ooh, let's see. Mm, um, I'm a church boy, so I grew up. I'm a Baptist baby. So it's kind of like a two-part thing. But one of my favorite, I'll say this for the artists. My first one. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The key word in that is created.
Mm-hmm.
Lets you know that God is an artist.
Absolutely.
And so the God we serve is an artist. If you look at that whole Genesis 1, it's my favorite scripture, Genesis 1, Genesis 2, because it's the origin of all of this. But Genesis 1, you are literally witnessing a man create.
Mm.
You are literally watching a man use his imagination to create the world that he wants.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so um, we have to understand that if God is an artist, you're an artist. And if God was unapologetic about his art with the world that he wanted to create for us, you have to have that same mentality about the world that you want to create for yourself. That's my first one. And then the other one is, uh, Book of Joshua, be strong and courageous. Um, you got to be strong and courageous in this.
Yeah.
You have to, because if you're not, it's strong and courageous. Those are two different things. You got to be mentally strong. You got to be emotionally strong. You got to be spiritually strong.
Mm-hmm.
But the courage part, is that that's no different than faith. Courage and faith, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
And so you have to have faith. And I don't mean having faith of just praying and not doing anything, or some people may not pray, whatever it is. But faith is doing the things that hasn't happened yet as if it has happened. So read scripts, go find script. I got notebooks full of screenplays,
Mm-hmm.
great screenplays, Die Hard, Hell or High Water, Dark Knight. Like, read the scripts that you want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the courage part. That's the strong part. That's the faith walk. You know what I'm saying? So now when those opportunities come, you ready for it because you've been conditioning yourself to be in it. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. You've been conditioning yourself to handle that type of material. No different than David fighting, these wild beasts to protect the sheep. So then when it came to Goliath, he was already ready because
Right.
he'd been preparing for that. And so, yes, you got to be strong. You got to be courageous, because if you don't be strong and courageous for you, you can't expect your agent or your manager to be strong and courageous for you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't expect your family and friends to be strong and courageous for you, because they're going to support you based off of what you're doing. And the last thing, don't oversaturate yourself with the whole social media thing. I know this goes against the grain, and it's okay. Um, Again, I'm old. I was raised by my grandparents, so I'm not a big social media person. Um, and I believe that you don't need social media to get to where you need to get to. You can use it for what it's there for, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the end all be all. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many followers you got. You still got to show up in that audition room. And
Absolutely.
Hollywood is still an industry that loves creating and discovering new stars.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, you got some casting directors and producers who don't care about your following. They care about what you're doing in that room.
Right.
I done seen actors who done book series regulars and got 1,500 followers. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? And so the blueprint will always be the same. And that's what I can end off with. The blueprint will always be the blueprint. What Samuel Jackson, Denzel, Meryl Streep, Robert De Niro, Viola Davis, Angela Bassett, Daniel Day-Lewis, Tom Hanks, whatever actor that you love, the blueprint is still the same. They trained, they read, they took care of their minds, their body, their spirit. The blueprint is still the same. When they all had to audition to get to where they got to.
Mm-hmm.
Still follow that blueprint. The blueprint ain't changed. It's just technology has changed.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's what I leave with. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. You are a creator. God created you to create because he made us in his image.
Right.
So we are created to create also. You got to be strong and courageous. It's going to be bad days. This strike for us was our pandemic. It was rough. What did you do during this time? Whatever you did during this strike is a is a reflection of how strong you are
Mm.
and how much faith you really have. And follow the blueprint. That's what I leave. That's my final words.
Well, JaVarius, thank you so much for your time. your expertise, your knowledge, and the vast amount of wisdom that you dropped in this interview. I truly, truly, truly appreciate that. And thank you for joining the Black Script Storytellers.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity, man. We definitely got to do this again, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We're gonna get some more of these in for sure. I'm so glad that Serenity paired us together and allowed us to have this interview, and is also giving spotlight where spotlight is due. So yeah, I'm hyped, man. I'm happy for you guys. I'm glad to see that there's a lot of us out there that are doing their thing. You guys are on the come up, and if there's anything that I can do to help further that along, I will. And yeah.
Yeah, man, we're gonna make it happen, man. We're gonna make it happen.